Uganda has hosted the first African Continental Free Trade Area private sector CEO forum, which brought together key players in the private sector in the country to network and share ideas on the way forward. Africa contributes a meager 2.4% exports to the world market, despite the fact that it has 1.3 billion of the world's population. Africa still suffers hunger, despite the fact that it has 60% of the world's arable land. The African Union member states made in 2018 and signed the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, in brief, during which 52 countries signed the agreement. The aim of AfCFTA is to accelerate intra-African trade as a springboard to Africa's strong position in global market. Addressing the forum, the Prime Minister Robinah Nabbanja reiterated the government's commitment to the private sector as part and parcel of the government's development agenda. The country should take advantage of the free trade area to boost exports on the wider African market.
Advantage of what we have and also help our other sisters and brothers. Africa has a population of 1.3 billion people. If we took advantage of that population, the sky can be the limit. And therefore, I want to thank the President for what we have so far done under his wise leadership.
The Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Francis Mwebesa, urges the private sector to stay the course. African trade area should fast-track trade and commerce in the country.
I therefore implore all of you gathered here as CEOs of the private sector to take a deliberate steps to seize these opportunities. I assure you that government will do all its part as well. At this point, I wish to emphasize that for the full potential benefits of the African Continental Free Trade to accrue to African countries and citizens, numerous additional policy enablers must be put in place.
The Secretary General of AfCFTA, Wamukele Mene, who was the keynote speaker at the event, made a case for small and medium enterprises in free trade area in Africa.
And so the role of the private sector is absolutely critical. It is one of the pillars of implementation of the AfCFTA. That is why early next year, we will convene the AfCFTA Business Forum, which is not going to be a forum where diplomats make speeches. It is a forum where we intend to ensure that there's business connectivity, with a focus on 4 specific value chains: the automotive sector, pharmaceuticals, transport and logistics, and agriculture.
The Executive Director of the National Planning Authority, Joseph Muvala, underlines the need for the involvement of the private sector in AfCFTA. The private sector faces a score of challenges which need urgent redress. The chair of this Presidential CEO Forum, Barbara Mulwana, called on the government to operationalize AfCFTA in order to accrue the benefits that come with free trade area.
I think to go by the African Continental Free Trade Area's vision of taking 30 million Africans out of poverty, how do we achieve that? We achieve that by the people who are in this room, the private sector and the government sector. We ask all governments on this continent to make it easier for the private sector to do business.
The Presidential CEO Forum coordinator in the State House, Irene Birungi Mugisha, made a case for a private sector-led economy.
The head of state has been so significant and intentional in promoting a private sector-led economy. And it's for that reason that every single person in this room is very, very important.
Many other notable speakers weighed in on the need for the involvement of the private sector in African trade area. Ali Kamlegea Asaba, UBC News.